Hey guys, welcome to the Piggy Review, where we love anime and games where fat kids love cake. I'm your host Piggy, and welcome to the show. As you may notice, we have a little bit of a change of venue here. This is only temporary for a couple episodes due to the main area where I usually tape a show, which is actually my room, being kind of flooded right now. A water pipe broke, and I had a major leak, and I was like, I don't want to get into too much detail. But yeah, welcome to the show. So, viewers, every once in a while, an anime comes about that revolutionizes anime in general. Raises the bar, if you will. I think I said this about Sword Art Online in my top 10 best anime of all time. This is not one of those shows. This instead is Psycho-Pass. Now, Psycho-Pass is a show that's gotten a little bit of popularity, and with Season 2 coming out, I figured I should do a review on it. And I saw it, it's on Netflix, it's in English, and what I think about it? It's okay. It has its flaws, it has its good parts, but you know what? I'm getting a little ahead of myself, as usual. I really gotta stop doing that. Okay, let's get on to the show. Now, our story begins in the year 2113 in future Japan, where the entire country or world, they never really explain if it's just in the world, is run by something called the Sybil system. What is the Sybil system? It's basically a system where it reads your mind. That's quite literally what it does. It reads your mind and tells us how psycho you are, or psychotic. And the number that it tells you is called your Psycho-Pass. Thus the name of the show. And the main focus of the story is the police department that hunts down the people with high Psycho-Passes, called the MWPSB. And it's here that we meet our main character, Akane Tsunemori. She's your typical kind of nerdy nice girl who wanted to be an inspector for the MWPSB. Now, there are two kinds of cops in here. There's the inspectors, and then there's the enforcers. Our other main character, named Kogami, is an enforcer. What is the difference, you ask? Well, inspectors, you could say, are... I kind of like to refer to them as the actual cops, whereas the enforcers are kind of like the hunting dogs. They are latent criminals. Latent criminals are people with high Psycho-Passes who have nothing more than high Psycho-Passes. And were chosen by the civil system that said, hey, they'll be good at this job because they're latent criminals.
They're nothing more than hunting dogs. The best way to track a beast is with a beast.
Now, I should probably clarify what a latent criminal is. A latent criminal is a person with just a high Psycho-Pass. Not that they committed a crime or anything. It just means they have a high Psycho-Pass. Which means you get arrested anyway, just for being psycho. Just for the potential to commit a crime. And that's where we get to one of the main problems I have with this show. Isn't it actually that everyone has the potential to commit a crime? That's why we usually wait till after they commit the crime to actually punish them? Logic! Now let's talk about these characters for a sec. Akane, she's boring. She's plain. She really has no personality other than having a low Psycho-Pass and just being all around just a good girl. Which brings us to the other character, Kogami. He's your cliche, panty-dropping bad boy for anime. You know, the bad guy, the bad boy who's actually good, like Sebastian from Black Butler, or... I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I know there's more. Oh, yeah, of course, there's a Light Yagami from Death Note, there's L from Death Note. Yeah, the characters that have no other focus than being a bad boy with a mysterious past to basically get girls to like them. I don't mean girls in the show, I mean actual, like, fangirls. Now, while I'm on the subject, this show is actually full of a lot of cliches. We have your cliche bad boy, we have your cliche dark-haired glasses guy who acts like a dick to everybody because he thinks he's better than everybody. We have the old guy who's nothing more than a source of knowledge and advice. We have the over-hyper side character whose only goal is to be the fun-loving guy. We have the quiet girl who has a interesting backstory. Like a quilt. Just like a quilt. Now, when I watch a show, I usually compare it to the Purge movies, for the reason that it could never happen. This could never happen. We would never, as a society, punish people for crimes they didn't commit. And just the logic behind it. It's the same as the Purge. It just works. Don't explain how it works. In fact, the Psycho-Pass reading, it's just a number. What, is it like with Dragon Ball Z? The Psycho-Pass is over 9,000! It baffles me. It really baffles me how the lack of logic with this show.
Way to catch a bad guy's to think like one. Doesn't matter if you're a good guy, though. Being able to think like a criminal is about the same as being one to the system. It all registers the same, and that's why I've got such a crazy high crime coefficient.
Like, what? Okay, his Psycho-Pass is 150, he's a rapist, or whatever. They don't explain it. Is it just how dangerous they are? It doesn't explain how they're dangerous or anything like that. Okay, I'm getting a little off track here. Let's get back to the show. The main weapons that are used by the MWPSB is the Dominators.
Training.
Then you know that it's a gun that reads the Psycho-Pass of the target you're aiming at. The safety's only released when it registers the target as a latent criminal.
This is kind of like how they determine people's Psycho-Passes while they're on the field. Other than that, there's like street scanners, and employers will have mandatory scans and stuff like that. But the Dominators are psychically just linked to their mind, and basically the trigger will not unlock unless a person's Psycho-Pass is above a certain point. And if a Psycho-Pass is really bad, it'll turn into the Eliminator mode, where basically you blow up if you get shot with it.
I might take the sympathies.
It's pretty badass, actually. But when I'm talking about the Dominators, there's this one scene in the first episode I want to show you. This scene almost made me not want to watch a show. This is actually the scene that made me want to review the show after watching it.
Trigger safety released. Enquire and subdue the target.
Oh, show. Okay. I'm all for, make up your own rules. I mean, it's your universe. It's your sci-fi. It's got a definition of sci-fi. It's kind of making up your own science behind things, stuff like that, That's the rule. But when you make your own rules, like, for instance, the Dominator is supposed to lock when a person's Psycho-Pass goes down a certain way, it's supposed to be for all the Dominators. I mean, it's not like it's based off your mind. It's based off their mind. It's based off their Psycho-Pass. Every Dominator is supposed to be reading it the same way. So when Akane shouldn't have been able to shoot, shouldn't the inspector guy, the other inspector guy, should not have been able to shoot, but somehow he was able to. Now, when I first saw this, I'm like, okay, maybe he's a manager or something. Maybe he's a little higher up in rank, so maybe he gets to bypass the trigger lock. No, not true. Go a couple episodes later, they're actually equal in rank, so that there should have been no reason Glasses Guy should have been able to freaking shoot that girl. Again, logic. When you make your own rules, you're supposed to freaking follow them. Ugh. Okay, I'm being a little bit hard on the show. The only real problem with it is the first couple episodes, and the fact that if you can get past the ass backwards logic, it actually is a decent show. When you get further along, there's a decent back history to it. There's The character development's pretty good, and the art style's very pleasing to the eye. And there's a good sense of mystery and conspiracy behind the show. It's actually, I dare say, fairly good once you get past those few little ticks I just mentioned. I'm actually getting a little bit off track here. Let's get back to the story. The story itself is basically all about, it's like a cop drama. It's all about the MWPSB solving crimes and such and such. And there is an overall story that ties in. I'm not going to get into too much description about it, but all in all, it's a really good show after the first couple episodes. I hope Season 2 stays on the uprising path and doesn't go downhill again with the ass-backwards logic. One of the things I like is it does question its own logic within the show. I'm not going to get into too much detail again. I don't want to ruin the show for you guys if you haven't seen it. But all in all, I think Psycho-Pass is worth the watch if you can get past the cliche characters, the ass-backwards logic, and, of course, the first episode mishap that shall not be mentioned. Then go ahead and watch it. I know I will be finishing it, and I will take a look at Season 2. Again, thanks for watching, guys, and I apologize that this is another anime review instead of doing a game review. That is because I haven't really been getting any new games, and I only play mostly free-to-play games, so I didn't want to show you guys another free-to-play game after just showing you why Go Pro. However, I have started another game. It actually is a free-to-play, but it's a decent free-to-play, and I'm going to actually be doing a review on it next review. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. In other news, I just started a Kickstarter for the Piggy Review. If you want to help donate a little bit to the show to help me improve it so I can do better episodes and maybe get some people in on the show to help me out with it every once in a while, besides my editor, Corey. That's a little shout out to you, Corey. Hope you appreciate it. Also, mentioning Corey, he's going to be appearing on the show for a review in the next couple episodes. Supposed to be a surprise, but you know, I like spoiling surprises. Well, thank you guys. See you later, and keep being nerdy.